welcome everybody. So glad that you could make it to our slightly rescheduled meeting for June. Let's see, I think what I should do is, yes, I'm going to take a roll call just to make sure that we document that everyone's here and then we can get the meeting going per the agenda. So let's see. If we could just have everyone go through and just like say your name that you're here, I think that'll suffice. So Anna, you could start.
Anna Feldwig.
Great.
Linda Ferrari.
Allison Ailey.
Greg Dorothy.
Great.
John Cooley's here.
Oh, and Barbara's here too.
Got Barbara. Awesome. Okay, great. So the meeting is starting at 7:34 on the 12th of June, West Concord Advisory Committee. I would love it if somebody could take notes / the minutes as per our like rotating schedule. And I'm wondering if I could ask you, Greg, to do that. They don't have to be elaborate, just to kind of like hit on the main points of what we talk about. Would that be okay?
Sure. Let me just go get a pen and paper.
Okay.
Hold on a sec.
Yeah, no problem. And I will share our agenda while Greg is doing that. It looks like we have a few guests. We've got Wendy Ravelli, who is our select board liaison, and seems like we've got Alan Bogosian, who Elizabeth said is from the Historic District Commission, I believe. Ooh,
Historical Commission, Susan.
Sorry, Historical Commission.
Don't want to get Dennis upset.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Greg, are you back?
Yep, I'm back.
Okay. Awesome. All right. So I just wanted to note that in addition to all of our members here, we do have Nicole absent, but we still have a quorum. We've got Wendy Ravelli, who's our select board liaison, and Historic Commission representative. Hold on one second. No, you're not in my view anymore. I think it was John, is that right?
And Alan Bogosian.
Sorry, Alan Bogosian. And then we've got Aaron, who is joining possibly from the public. Cool. All right, so let's see. I don't know that we have any minutes to approve. I was checking on this as of yesterday, and I think Anna Feldwig, do you have like a draft of the minutes from our May 15th meeting that we should circulate? It's my fault that I didn't ask for them.
I do, and one night I just realized that you didn't ask and I didn't offer, but yes, I do have them.
Oh, okay.
I'll send them to you,
Yeah.
before the end of the week, maybe?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay.
You could send them actually to everybody to just make sure they're able to comment back to you one-on-one, and then we can kind of like aggregate the final version of it and vote on it at our next meeting, which will be in July.
Okay.
Cool. Great. All right. And then let's see, as regards membership, we are a fairly full committee, which is amazing and awesome because we're going to be able to accomplish a lot given that. I think we do have one associate spot open, and I did receive a volunteer card from someone who I'm trying to make contact with to chat with them about possibly joining. So that's great, but I just want to remind everybody, if you have friends, especially those that might have architect or building or design experience, we are certainly very open to having another joiner to our committee. Okay, let's see. So I think what we could do actually in the context of discussing the West Concord Village Master Plan is do a bit of a regroup on the last time most of us got together, which was our joint meeting with the planning board. And during that meeting, we had a great discussion about how WCAC can assist the planning board in a lot of different decisions that'll be coming their way, like in the upcoming year or years related to development in West Concord and also encompassing the MCI property, which there's a separate committee that's very hyper focused on that. But we talked a lot about how we could possibly have meetings with them together to review plans that are coming in front of the planning board that are in our sphere of influence in West Concord. So as opposed to say like meeting with a developer a couple times separately as WCAC, and then the planning board sees that developer multiple times as well as they try to get their plans finalized, we would streamline that process and be meeting with the developer jointly, and then our committee would come up with our advice to the planning board, which we would document in a letter. And the planning board is the ultimate entity that has the voting rights over whether a plan advances or not. But we would be in on the ground floor sharing our thoughts with the planning board in that regard, and hopefully making it easier for developers to adjust their plans so that they can be considered seriously more quickly. Another thing that we talked about was that we would possibly have our charge amended, and the WCAC's charge is basically our reason for being that we were formed in the early 2010s initially, and then our charge was updated, I believe, in 2018, and now we are going to likely update it again to expand the geographic area over which we would have an opinion, and then also reflect this closer alignment with the planning board that we are considering and wanting. And so from what I understand, Elizabeth Hughes, our town planner, is going to be updating that charge, which we will then consider and vote on in an upcoming meeting. And then that can advance on to maybe it's the planning board next, and then ultimately the select board to adjust our charge. Elizabeth, if you want to comment on what that process is, so you can tell I'm a little bit fuzzy on it.
That is basically the process. I'll make some suggested edits, and then the West Concord Advisory Committee can go through and have a conversation about it. Then whether WCAC comes to a planning board or whether planning board comes to one of your meetings, have another conversation about that, and then both bring it to the select board to have a conversation about.
Okay. So we would foresee that would happen over upcoming months, like upcoming, what, 3 or 4 months, do you think?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay. So that's super exciting. And related to the change in our geographic area for consideration and influence, the way I understand it, the way we left it in our joint conversation with the planning board was that we would be expanding our influence to where the Novo property is being developed right now. So all the way over there across the Assabet River, also up towards MCI. And then I can't recall if we were moving over west anymore. For some reason, I'm thinking we were just kind of expanding more east. But if you remember kind of the outlines of that, Elizabeth, I think we'd love a refresher on that.
So I didn't get the sense that there was, with the conversation with the planning board, there was a clear combined consensus.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think there was consensus about MCI Concord, and then also Baker Ave extension area, and maybe a little bit more, like towards Ornac and Emerson Hospital.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. So is that's something that you think we would probably be negotiating with them the next time we meet with them and talk about how the charge is changing?
I think that conversation will continue, because maybe it's not, not necessarily having to define a geographic area. It may be, with the planning board has something that's coming before them and feel that, yeah, that, has enough of an impact on, West Concord, the village and the business districts, and, would like the committee's input. So
Okay.
I still think that can be a fluid conversation.
Okay. Sounds good. Does anyone else on the committee who was at the meeting have like questions or any details to add to what I just kind of summarized? Oh, Barbara, go ahead.
I think the one other thing we talked about is how to define membership on the advisory committee, and should it include a specific number of people who are West Concord residents, or should it be somewhat more open to allow other residents of Concord or people who have interests in in what goes on in Concord, and not exclusively to people who live in the however we define West Concord.
That's right. Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Right. We had decided that we were okay with folks who lived, yes, like didn't have a residence within West Concord joining the committee, because they would have a perspective of someone who might utilize the shops and restaurants and services, et cetera, in West Concord, but not necessarily, be making their home directly within West Concord. They might have an interesting perspective living in Concord, for instance, and think about things that could be different in West Concord, seeing the example of Concord. Anyway, yeah. So that, I think, is that was a great productive conversation. That was super helpful for our committee, I think. And in the course of talking about all of that, I think it became clear to us, well, Elizabeth had mentioned that there's going to possibly be an opportunity for lots of planning to be done because of the MCI property becoming available to Concord, and there is potentially going to be funds available to put together some planning documents that could refresh what West Concord is currently working with for its own planning documents. And so the master plan, the West Concord Village master plan, is one that would be first on the docket to possibly get updated should MCI, should the money that is related to MCI for planning come through. And so that kind of puts the onus on us to take a look at what we've got right now for the West Concord Village Master Plan. I think it was written in 2010, and assess what in there would we like to carry forward, what things have already been checked off within that master plan that were planned to be done and now we can see like have actually come to fruition, and how can we build on that plan and make it better if we're given funds to, say, hire a consultant who would refresh it. Am I kind of summarizing that correctly, Elizabeth?
Yeah, I think what the committee along, in that conversation with the planning board need to, put together basically that memo to the select board and, possibly, the MCI advisory committee, outlining exactly what you just said and the need to basically look at MCI Concord and the West Concord Village and the business district, as a whole, and updating the master plan to include MCI Concord is a great way to do that.
Yeah. So given that, I know we had in the past been focused on our design guidelines, which are, I believe, something that is an outgrowth of a master plan. So if the master plan changes, then it stands to reason that at some point the design guidelines would change, but we should focus on scrutinizing the master plan first and understanding what would be needed to kind of acknowledge today's realities that is not existing in that plan right now, or that we can give an update that says, you know, 2/3 of the things in this plan have been accomplished, but now the leftover 1/3 is still remaining to happen, or doesn't need to happen because it's no longer relevant, but these other elements would need to be attacked. So let's see, I'm gonna go to the master plan if I can get there appropriately. Let's see. Just West. Okay. So I think a few members of our committee, oh shoot, I'm sharing my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay. I think a few members of our committee got this master plan as a hard copy the last time we met over at the Kais Road building, but I know I didn't. I'm okay reading it online, but there are, I think John Cooley wasn't at that meeting. I still would love to get a copy eventually. Trying to think of who else didn't get a, does anyone else who did not get a hard copy of this want to raise their hand, or is it just me and John?
Yeah, if you can just send Heather and I an email.
Okay.
We'll get them printed out and ready for you.
Okay, great. So this is all these different parts of the master plan. It is quite long, and I found this graphic master plan actually fascinating because it's like an enormous map that has all these like labels on it of different things that are planned to be done, or in some cases at this point have been done. But I was thinking that it would make sense for us to divide up these subset pieces of the master plan and go through them and make notes about, I would say in particular, the things you're seeing in there that have been accomplished already, and then things that are still left to be done. And then also like any advice you would have for like building out that portion of the plan for present day realities, opportunities, challenges, etc. So does that sound like something that if we divided all of this up between us, we might be able to kind of tackle this in time for our next meeting? Linda.
Is there someone, I don't know if it's you, Elizabeth, who's been tracking all of the implementation plan and kind of the status, like which of these different, recommendations have been fully completed, put on hold for what reason, partially completed? Like I kept going in my mind, like, has this been done? I think it's been done, but I'm not quite sure. And then in chapter 5, there's like a whole spreadsheet of all the different things. And rather than us trying to like figure that out, if there maybe somebody has not been doing that and we have to do it, I'm just trying to understand the process.
So it's definitely not me because I was gone when the plan was developed and did not come back until 2015. So the closest person who would have been doing that would have been Marcia. So I will have to like go through her documents to see.
I was going to say, like, since there's a spreadsheet that is included in chapter 5, I was wondering if we could have access to it so that we don't have to recreate you know, and pull out all the different recommendations from our respective chapters?
I'm sure there's probably an Excel spreadsheet, but
Yeah, it looks like
again,
there is.
I'll have to look.
Thank you.
Linda, what should I click on in order to see what you're talking about?
So 5.0 implementation matrix, maybe? That one, no, oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Maybe that matrix. I'm not sure if that's the one. I can tell you what page it starts on. Hold on a second.
Oof.
No,
Yep.
that's it.
There you go.
Wow.
But that's a PDF, obviously, so.
Yeah.
Because every time I was reading, I was like, has that, you know, I wasn't sure if it had been done in the way that it was being described. Even like, oh, extend Beharrell Street west to Com Ave. I mean, is that what's been done? Like
Yes.
that goes around the post office, for
Yes.
example, like, or did they mean like, anyway, that's
No,
just one.
that was, so, I mean, some of these things, even though I wasn't here, some of these things I just know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like the new pocket park at Warner's Dam, that was done. Junction Park enhancements, you know, that's been done. The Mandrioli Pocket Park enhancements, that's really been done now that the ATM is gone. And so, I mean, just some of these things.
Maybe more obvious than others, yeah.
Yeah.
Decorative light fixtures. I feel like we have decorative light fixtures, right? Those.
Yep, they've been extended
lamp
down Com Ave and, you know, through the whole village and.
But in one case I was reading, oh, they should be extended down Bradford and they should be extended out to Rideout. So I was literally walking the other day, looking, oh, where do they end? And I noticed one behind the Concord Outfitters on Bradford. I was like, okay, well but it doesn't go up to Rideout. So just little things like that, that in my mind, I have to like walk it to see it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, I wonder if a good framework for reviewing the plan would be for us to each take a certain number of rows of this document and then refer to the sections that cover it in a narrative, and then maybe look at Google Maps or walk it or whatever to figure out if it has actually been completed. And we could always put like a question mark and talk about it to figure out like what have we noticed that has happened, and is it in need of upgrade still? Or I know I was reading something in part of the plan that talked about Bradford Mill and like trying to install sidewalks on Maple Court and Bradford Street, and that's kind of like half done. Maple Court is still kind of a mess. That's like the very broken up sidewalk or pavement area that's like right behind the Concord Outfitters building. So yeah, ooh, appoint West Concord Advisory Committee.
Yeah,
That's been
done.
Woohoo, we can check that off.
So I do think this is a good place to start, it seems to me.
Yeah. I wonder if I can like use Adobe to un-PDF this. Has anyone ever tried doing that?
So let me see if I can find the actual spreadsheet. And then if not, we have Acrobat Pro.
Okay.
Which would probably do better than. So we can get it done.
Okay.
I do think divvying it up is a good idea.
Yeah.
It was surprising and pleasantly surprising to me to see just how many things that are listed in here have been accomplished. I think it says to us, this is the way that planning proceeds, not sort of helter-skelter random, but in fact, things get written down and thought about. And in that process of writing them down, kind of points direction about how to get things done. I mean, one of the things that just flew by, I keep forgetting that I'm not controlling the screen here, was a bridge over the Assabet River. Well, that's a really long-term project, but it is in the works at this point, which is pretty amazing. Oh, here it is. The
Yeah.
Transportation Network B7. And some of the other things that just jumped out at me was the idea about connecting some of the green spaces, which I know Anna has talked about particularly to do. And that was in the 2010 guidelines. And so anyway, it just
I was surprised to see that too.
yeah.
And
Can I ask a question? I'm sorry, Allison has her hand up and I'm not following protocol here, but I just want to remark on what Barbara just mentioned. Because last time in one of our previous meetings, Susan, or somebody mentioned that we don't have, I don't know, jurisdiction is not the right word, but like over, I think we were talking about Warner's Pond and like that wouldn't be something that our committee would, again, I'm not using the right words, but have jurisdiction over. So when it comes to green spaces and connecting all the trails and in the different, parts of the community, is that something that we can influence or how does that work?
I think that we influence it when we receive development plans that like a particular building is going to be, proposed to go up, and we would want to make certain that that building is also going to have green space surrounding it that connects with other green space resources. That's kind of the way I interpret it, because I'm not sure that we can do much more than that, because we are supposed to be helping with planning and interacting with developers, not necessarily like telling the town to buy land so it can be preserved as green space. That is my interpretation, though. I don't know, Elizabeth, do you want to add to that? And then we can go to Allison in a second.
No, that's a good kind of synopsis.
Thank you.
Allison, go ahead.
Yeah, I echo everything everyone's been saying. And when I was reading the West Concord Village Master Plan, it seemed to me like it was vision-wise and language-wise and goal-wise, it really aligns with the Envision Concord Bridge to 2030. And that to the extent that it does and did, and it's probably, and I don't know how this would be done, really helpful to notice the parts of the West Concord, all the studies they did that are completely aligned with Envision Concord on a broad scale. And in addition to looking at what specifically has been done and what specifically hasn't been done, it just, the tone and tenor seem to very much to be in line with Envision Concord, and it seems like that would be continuing a theme.
Yeah, that's an important point, because I feel like Envision Concord is the, I don't know, granddaddy of planning documents in Concord. It just seems like that's the most comprehensive planning exercise that's ever taken place, or maybe it's the most recent comprehensive one. I think it was finished in what, 2014 or 2015. I remember the tail end that was happening when I moved to
Envision Concord was adopted in 2018.
2018. Oh, geez. Okay.
And Susan, we should be reading that as well. I haven't gotten to that because I've been so diving into this one, but I do intend to read that also. I'm sure that would be helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I think we could try to link to different concepts that are explained in Envision Concord. It just makes our case, stronger for backing the elements of the master plan that we are recommending or that we're engaging with. Allison, did you have another question? Is your hand just still up from before?
No, I'm sorry. I'll take that down.
Okay. Okay. So, all right, how to proceed. So we're going to try to get a more usable, editable version of this list of improvements and then divide it up amongst us. Do we feel comfortable kind of deciding how to do the division in advance of getting the editable document, just so that we can kind of move forward a bit, you know, using this meeting that we're having right now, so that when we are receiving that doc, we know what we're doing. Is everyone okay with dividing things up now?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so it's a little bit, so is this the only spreadsheet, Linda? I'm sorry that I haven't gotten as far in all of the links as this, but is this the only one, or is there another one that we should be considering too?
I'm trying to like see if this matches. Let's see, there's something on, you don't have the print. Hold on a second.
I think that's the only one.
Yeah, it's like basically in anyone who has the printed one, it starts on like after 5-22. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
that's
it's
the
the
only one.
same. Yeah.
Okay. So, and then how many, let's see, how many pages in the PDF? It's 1, 2, looks like it's 4 pages. So if we have, so this is a half a page approximately. If we have like 8 of us, we could probably each take a half a page of these items to be responsible for, so to speak, to be able to say, this happened, it didn't happen, or like, if you're not sure, that's totally fine too, to kind of put it in a not sure state, and then we can talk about it and see if others on the committee can verify that it happened or not. So maybe a good way to do this would just be like, I don't know, like alphabetically. Let's see.
Susan, can I ask a question?
Sure, go ahead.
Some of these early ones seem like they are more administrative. Like, how would we determine if zoning had been revised?
Oof.
I would do that.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So maybe that would be all of the things that are in A, policies and regulations.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna put Elizabeth down for that then. Okay.
And sorry, does the conceptual diagram map, I can like hold it up. It's probably not helpful. I can't really do it, but well, I can't see that, but it says conceptual diagram of
Yeah, I'll show
West Concord. Is that a summary of if all these things were done, what it would look like? I wasn't sure how to think about that conceptual diagram.
Is that in concept plan, Linda, like part 1 and part 2, or is that the graphic master plan?
Hold on. Because there's a big one at the end, because the one in the chapter, it's hard to read. Hold on, let me see if I can find where it's first mentioned.
I think it looks like this, right?
Yes, yep.
It says conceptual plan at the top.
All right, so this thing that I'm bringing up right now is probably not it, but let me just wait for it to keep loading. Does this look like what you guys are seeing in print?
No.
No, okay.
Oh, I
It's like
got it. All right, so I will email the Excel. I was
Oh,
able
you
to
found
convert
it.
it.
Great.
So I will email this
Awesome.
off to everybody.
Good records by the town there, Elizabeth.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Oh, no, it was,
Document from 2010 that you managed to unearth. That is incredible. All right, so this, Barbara, you have a question, and I'm trying to find that map that you guys were showing.
Well,
But Barbara, what do you?
not so much a question, but on the
Oh, it's in section 3-11. Page 3-11 is where it is first shown, and then there's a bigger version of it. So if you go, I guess, in chapter 3,
Yeah.
page 3-11.
Okay.
I was just going to say there are about 75 lines of proposals that they hope to get accomplished. And that might be an easier way to divide things up by just somebody will take the first 9 and then somebody else will take the next 9, that kind of thing.
Okay, that sounds good to me. And that's not counting.
There it is.
This is it right here. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So let's just put Barbara's thought on hold for a second. So the question of this, about this is it the 2B, like the diagram of what we wanted in West Concord? Was that the question?
Yeah, like does this map to sort of, if we finished all of these things on the implementation plan in chapter 5, it would look like this. Like, I don't know what to do with this.
I can tell you that Marcia drew that, because I know her writing. And I kind of think that's what this was
Okay.
out of all of the, workshops and was really just coming up with ideas of, okay, what are some of the things you want to see here? And I think if you look at the legend for these colors, so, oh, yeah,
Green is
was
open
trying
space.
to identify those items, open space, connections, redevelopment, local business, parking. And so I think this was probably a planning, community visioning session.
Okay.
But I can tell you, looking at this map, quite a bit of this has been done. It's kind of amazing.
Yeah, that's great.
This River Trail Connect is, I think, I don't know, the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail maybe has taken over that thought about having a connection that like follows the river. Do you think that's the case or no?
No, that little green dash is that trail is there.
Okay, wow.
And then, it continues behind Brookside Square, goes out, out the other side of Neshoba Brook Bakery.
Okay.
So that's, that is there.
Yeah, I actually walked that trail with my dog.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's there.
But I think that speaks to the fact that we don't publicize. Like if you go to Wellesley or some of these other towns, I think I have to say they do a much better job of showing all of their trails within their community and how to get from point A to point B through the trail system.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess like I think I've looked. Is this Concord Park right here? I don't know if you guys see my cursor. I guess I've like looked back there and not thought that there was really anything except for just a lot of underbrush and stuff. So we'll have to take a closer look next time. Huh. Okay. All right. So I guess how should we be thinking about using this diagram then in our evaluation? Should we just like look at the different elements of it and kind of see broadly what we believe has happened? Like, has development happened in the pink areas? In some case, I think probably yes, because is this pink park, is this pink what turned into Brookside Square maybe?
Should we each like refer to it as we're going through our items and make a little check or note on where, completed, here's what it is, or what do you suggest?
Yeah, I think that would be good. And to be honest, I've also been using Google Maps to a certain extent as I've been going through the plan to just sort of swoop in and see if I can identify what they were talking about. But yeah, I feel like this would be a good touchstone because we all have access to it. We all have the same view. So yeah, let's use it. Okay. So Barbara had said there are approximately 75 items and that was not counting the ones that were tagged with the letter A that were related to planning. Is that right, Barbara?
No, that did include those. So what are there, 4 or 5 of those at the beginning?
I think so.
There's 13 at the beginning, I think, that are A.
13 that are A, so 75 minus 13 is 62, right?
And I think there are 4 or 5 that are G at the end that are also perhaps more administrative or it's infrastructure management strategy.
Mm. Yeah. Street. Like utilities to support existing. Yeah, this seems a little more vague, like public utilities, that's electric and gas, right? Water. Yeah, I feel like these are a little more, I don't know, vague and general. So maybe we don't have to spend a ton of time individually on these. We can talk about them as a group and say, like, do we feel like these things are happening?
Right.
Yeah. So no G, so that takes another 4 off the table. So that's about 58. And if we have 8 of us, that's like 7 things per person, right? Does that seem, if I'm doing my math correctly?
Close enough.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so let's see. As opposed to going alphabetically, which would be difficult for me to figure out right now, I think I'm gonna just start with the folks I see on my screen, which I think you guys can also see who I'm looking at. So like, for instance, the first person I see is Allison. So I'm thinking, Allison, if you could take B1 through 7.
Sure.
7, okay. And then Linda, if you could take, looks like we don't have a B8, so we're gonna go B9.
Yeah, that's funny, they're numbering there.
9, 12, yeah.
Seven, okay. So you're gonna do, Linda, you're gonna do B 9 through 18, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, okay. Okay, and then Barbara can do,
Housing and community development strategies.
yes. So C and D. Right. Skip Elizabeth for the moment. Anna, if you could take E2, 6, 7. So E2 through E1, 8.
Yep.
E2 through E1. What is that? E1-8. Okay. Let's see, John, you could do E1, 7. So that's E1, 8. So E1, 9. And I'll email these all out to everybody. So I know this is a little confusing with all these numbers. And then we've got Greg. E2, E1, 9. E2 5 through E2 13. And then got me, and so I will take, hopefully we did this right with all the counts. Okay, so to 14. Not that many, I guess. 32, 14. Okay, oh, and then we have Nicole, that's why we have some leftovers. So we'll assign Nicole. 6. Through. We'll give her F6 through F14, and I'll tell her I'll take a couple. Too much, so that she's kind of building up the extra.
Can I ask a question about the parks, open space and trails?
Yeah.
I know we said earlier that we wouldn't really be weighing in on this unless it was in connection with development. I was wondering how it works when you get a developer to pay for, like, I don't know, like the bridge over the Assabet, you know, or like traffic enhancements beside where they're developing. Is that something that the planning board gets involved with? Is that?
Yeah, it would depend on the application and the types of potential impacts a project would have.
Right.
But that could be something, like, so for Brookside Square, part
Yeah.
of that permit, included, helping to pay for the bump outs on Com Ave.
Right. Right. Okay. That makes sense to me. Because I remember in reading in this, there was a lot about, back in 2010, even about Kenny Dunn's Square and the traffic there and all of that. And I was just wondering if I wasn't here when you guys were talking about 166, but if that came up in connection with that development and if
Yes.
anything was decided or addressed or left for later or what happened?
Well, nothing actually got decided because the application was withdrawn,
Oh,
but that was part of the conversation when it was going through.
Yeah, there was a lot related to Kenny Dunn Square during our discussion with that developer. But I would say that the Kenny Dunn Square situation is one that we might wanna like carry forward into the next master plan in terms of making a recommendation on simplifying it, studying it, or something like that, just because it seems to be kind of problematic.
Susan, I'm getting a lot of echo from your mic. Is it possible to adjust that?
I'm hearing that too.
yeah.
Okay, hold on, let me see if I can.
I was letting it ride. I thought it was cool.
I don't know.
Sounds like she's like the lawnmower man or something.
Hold on. How should I fix this?
I want to introduce you to my kitten.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, hold it up. Oh, look, very cute.
Oh, you gotta hold her up higher, Barbara.
Oh,
Oh, she's adorable.
what's her name?
Just 4 months old today. His name is Dusty.
Oh, hi, Dusty.
Well, now he says, let me walk on the keyboard.
All right, so hold on. I'm gonna stop sharing and see if I can fix my audio somehow. I'm not really sure how to do that. So. Is that any better?
No.
wonder what's going on. Like, I have headphones for work. I think I wonder, oh, no, hold on.
Do you have a headset?
Yeah, I was just turning it off.
Oh,
Is this any better? No. I don't know what else I could do.
But it changed partway through because it didn't start the meeting with this.
Right.
oh, that was better.
It was
Your head-
better.
Oh,
No.
no, sorry, sorry. I
No.
thought what?
It might be if your headset disconnected and the
Yeah.
speakers on your computer are being used.
It is the speaker on my computer that's being used, yes. And I don't have the little dongle for my headset in, and my headset is now turned off. But I was thinking like, maybe I should plug my headset in, I don't know, but now I can't find the dongle for it. I don't know what to do.
I feel like you should be calling the Celtics game right now. And now.
Should I leave the meeting and come back? It'll stay up as long as you're here, right, Elizabeth? Is that okay? Or no?
What, for you to jump off and come back in?
Yeah, if I did that to just try to fix this audio thing, because maybe like leaving the meeting and then rejoining will help
Oh,
out the situation.
we'll just wait for you to come back.
All right, I'll be back in a minute. Is this any better?
Yes.
Well, thanks for letting me know. That must have been so irritating. Okay. All right, so we've gotten our sections divvied up for the master plan, and I think if we can work on looking at all those pieces and then consulting the parts within the narrative of the plan that apply to them, if we have any questions about what they're referring to, and then we can get together and talk about it next week. We can, Elizabeth's going to send us the spreadsheet, so we can even be filling in our comments, etc.
You should have it by now.
Oh, good. Okay.
Can you make that a Google Doc, Susan, so we can all?
Yeah. Well, let me ask
Well,
Elizabeth this.
I sent it to everybody.
Okay. I don't know that we can necessarily all contribute to the same Google Doc as part of open meeting law.
Oh,
Cannot.
okay.
Yeah, you
Gotcha.
can't. So you just have to focus on your part, and then
Okay.
we will like wed them together when we're done. Okay, so that is the master plan. And then at whatever point there's a new charge for a committee to look at, we'll be reviewing that / voting on it. So that might happen later on this summer, early fall. Let's see. At one point we had talked about trying to get a like tour of West Concord together for us and various other committees to just like assess, you know, the facts on the ground, so to speak, of what the village is like, and you know, the good stuff that's happened, i.e. the new sidewalks and other improvements people might be thinking about. Do you all still want to try to put something like that together, or do you want to
Maybe when we're making notes on what's been done and hasn't been done, we can make notes about whether it would be a good tour stop.
Okay, I think that's a good idea, because that would give any kind of like in-person walkabout more structure than just showing up in West Concord and rambling around. I feel like, yeah, that could make it a lot more deliberate. Yes. Okay. So yeah, so feel free to make notes if folks have a need to see something in person or want to show other committee members something in person. Okay. Let's see. The last thing that I wanted to do is talk about our liaison assignments, which I took the liberty of putting in a handy chart table, I should say. So let me share that. And I think a lot of folks are aware of the committees they're covering, but I just wanted to review it so that we all can see. Okay. So this is what I gleaned from a previous meeting where we were talking about liaison assignments, and some folks, i.e. I think maybe John Cooley, you may have gotten assigned a liaison assignment, and if it's not something that's workable for your schedule, we can figure out a different assignment. And then we also have the MCI committee that did not exist at the time that we were thinking about these assignments, but now does, and we should certainly have someone covering that. I do think they meet like twice a month, if I'm not mistaken. So we may want to like assign a couple people to it just to make sure that there's someone who can be there usually. Elizabeth, is that right that they're meeting twice a month at this point?
Yes, and currently they meet, one's virtual and one's hybrid.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the planning board.
Oh, no, I was talking about
Oh, no.
MCI committee.
Um,
Don't they meet twice a month?
I think they're only meeting once a month right now.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So let's see. We've got Barbara and Allison checking out planning board agendas and making sure that they tune in to a planning board meeting if there's anything that relates to West Concord. I feel like we'll, in many cases, be having some joint sessions with the planning board if developers are coming. So it could be that a lot of this is a little bit moot because we will automatically be jointly meeting with the planning board for those kinds of things. But please keep an eye on the planning board schedule and update us if they talk about West Concord. Let's see, we've got Anna on Public Works, Barbara on TAC. John, we signed you up for Concord Housing Development Corp. And also I signed up for that too. So if John can't go, then I'll go. Greg is on Economic Vitality Committee. I'll skip MCI for a sec. Linda is doing climate action, I misspelled committee, and also community preservation. And the conversation around the community preservation committee is that there may be community preservation funds that are being proposed to get allocated to West Concord, and we would want to be able to read those applications and I guess like comment on our support of those initiatives. Am I getting that right, Linda, in terms of the goal for attending those meetings?
I think so. That's my understanding, yes.
Okay.
Sometimes when you look at these agendas, it's not really very clear where West Concord would play, if it would play a role. So how do you suggest that we understand that? Is like make it your best guess and then read the minutes afterwards and hope you are right? Or like what? I'm finding like Climate Action Committee, for example, has a lot of just broad initiatives that would apply to all of Concord.
Yeah.
You
I
can
wonder
always
if like, oh,
send
go ahead.
an email to the appropriate staff person and CC me.
It's just email them?
Yep, so if you, for that particular example, you could send an email to Eric Sims, just CC me on those and, one of us should be able to.
Okay.
Yeah, so community preservation would actually, that she was talking about climate action would be Eric Sims.
Oh, sorry.
Community preservation would be Ann Clifford.
Okay.
And Clifford.
Is it okay to just send like an introductory email saying, hey, I'm the liaison, just,
Yep.
or, okay.
Yep, so what I can do is, Susan, so this is pretty much, filled out, just if you can send this to me.
Mm-hmm.
We can also post this to the webpage, but I'll send out an introductory email to each one of the appropriate staff people, along with that person's email address so that you can be included.
Awesome.
Thank you.
That's great. Okay. And I'd forgotten that Nicole committed to the Cultural District Committee, our sort of sibling committee here in West Concord. So she's supposed to be covering that. So MCI, does anyone know when they meet? I saw them on the website, but didn't get a chance to dig into.
They just met, their first meeting was this past Monday, so I don't know
Okay.
if they have a set schedule yet.
Okay. Let me just look and see if they're listed in this.
I don't think they've set a schedule yet.
Yeah, okay. So I guess we'll just have to keep an eye out for that. June 10th. Yeah, which was this past Monday. All right, so we'll just say like, I guess TBD there.
And sorry, Susan, since you're on the screen, do the minutes get posted to these? Because on my committees, I've been looking and there's no minutes on past
Occasionally,
meetings.
I think occasionally the minutes get.
So you can, so let's say, go to the planning board.
Okay. Let's
Right there, so view most recent agenda and minutes. And
Yeah.
see the little green box?
Mhm.
that means
So
there's-
all of those, those are the approved minutes that get posted.
Yeah. And we're behind on posting the minutes, and that is my fault, and I'm truing that up with Heather. So we will get our green boxes filled in, because I know you guys have been approving the minutes that we share during the beginning of our meetings, and then I have been lax in sending them off. But Barbara's going to do that in the future. Once I get caught up, Barbara is the clerk, and she will be meticulous about that in a way that I am failing to be.
Well, you're not alone apparently, based on looking at the other committees. So
Oh, this is nothing, so,
Yeah. So I guess, right, so I guess the agendas are part of this process of looking to see whether, it's worth tuning into a particular meeting and then checking minutes
Susan,
afterward.
right on that screen, there's that notify me block.
Yeah,
So if you click on that to the far left,
right up here, right?
so
Oh,
in the toolbar on the far left. Yep. And so you can go through and you can select the agenda center. You can select any one of the boards and committees, and when an agenda gets posted, you'll get notified.
yeah, I did that the other day for mine. I wonder if I missed it. Let's see. I got the confirmation though, so I know that it worked.
Yep.
I'm going to check this off. This is the one that I committed to. US subscribe. All right, so this is going to be a little harder for me. I don't know why, but so
Yeah,
oh, I
so
need to sign into the website and then I can do this. I see what you're
Yeah,
saying.
so you have to sign up. You put your email in, notify me, sign in, and but that's probably the best way.
Okay. All right.
I would be interested in attending some of the MCI meetings. I don't know. I mean, I guess we have to wait till when their schedule is and stuff, but it's very interesting to me. So
Okay.
I would imagine there are others it's interesting to too, but
Yeah, it's interesting to me. I don't know if I can always make the meetings, but yeah, I'll put my initials down as sort of like a half commitment, but I would welcome other people attending those MCI meetings. I feel like half of Concord is probably going to be attending them because we're also invested in that property. Okay. Let's see. So I will circulate this document and I'll send it to you as well, Elizabeth, and then we will be able to do these cover these other committees. Did anybody actually get to go to any of their assigned committee meetings or listen to a recording or anything like that and want to debrief about it right now? That's okay. I went to the zoning board. Well, I listened to a zoning board of appeals meeting about a project that's happening kind of close to my neighborhood, which Greg might have also tuned into that same one because he's pretty interested in it. But that is all I did for other committees. All right, let's see, moving right along. We do need to update our webpage, but I feel like maybe we can leave that for talking about it next time. Because these liaison assignments, it sounds like we'll go onto our webpage. Maybe Elizabeth will put them on there actually between now and the next time we meet. And we can also, yeah, dig into what our webpage should say, because we want to accurately reflect what our committee is working on. And right now it's a little bit disorganized and maybe reflects things that we've done in the past. So we'll put that on the agenda next time. Before I open it up for public comment, are there any comments from the rest of the committee about anything we've talked about or things that you wanted to mention? All right, if any members of the public would like to make comments, we would welcome that.
Yeah. Susan,
John
I
has
just
his hand
raised
up.
my hand. Can you hear me?
Yeah, who's speaking?
John,
Susan, this is John.
Oh, okay. There.
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
just had my little hand up there. I'm sort of catching up, and I had a couple comments. Did I hear it right at the beginning of the meeting that at the joint meeting with the planning board, it was suggested to allow for non-residents of West Concord to serve on the committee? Was that what I heard?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, like, was that a suggestion by the planning board, or was it our idea?
It was listed within our current charge, and I think we had talked about it and thought, like, is this actually good for someone from outside of West Concord to be on the committee, and then had a larger discussion about it and decided that it would be good to have other perspectives that weren't so insular to West Concord, but someone has to live within the confines of Concord, the town, in order to serve on any town committee, or have a business here in West Concord, or what else? There was another one, including the business. I can't remember what. Oh, Wendy, maybe you remember. Wendy, go ahead.
No, it wasn't necessarily a comment about that.
Oh, okay, okay.
Thanks.
So I think our within our charge, which maybe I can pull up, it was actually, it was fairly open about someone who wasn't living in West Concord being able to serve, and we had kind of like gone back to being very narrow about who could serve, and then had a discussion that kind of opened it up more. And I think Barbara had some good points about this. I don't know, Barbara, if you want to share any of your thinking with John.
Yeah, I think that part of it was to keep a certain number of voting members living in West Concord, although to try and define the boundaries of West Concord is challenging to begin with. But that to exclude other Concord residents who might use all kinds of things that happen in the village in West Concord, and certainly are going to have concerns about how MCI land might get used in the future. That if there were people who were interested, but did not live in the West Concord Village area, that they could still be allowed to participate.
Okay, yeah, that kind of makes sense. My thinking was it's sort of natural to represent the interests of the neighborhood that you live here, but I can kind of see that too, Barbara, if you're not living here, but you are a stakeholder. So then maybe the suggestion or compromise would be like a certain number of the, like you said, voting that members would need to be residents.
Yeah, we had numbers attached to it. I just can't remember what they are.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then also just curious, you discussed expanding the purview of West Concord Advisory Committee to include other geographic kind of areas. Was that, I'm just curious, was that the planning board suggestion as well, or was that, how did that come up?
I think maybe it was a combination of Elizabeth and the planning board. Well, Elizabeth and the planning board kind of talking it over about that a lot is happening in what is broadly defined as West Concord, and that it seems strange for the charge that we have, it focuses on a very narrow portion of the village. It doesn't really even carry over to where the Novo property is. It certainly doesn't reach up to the MCI property. It is very, it probably reflects what West Concord Village was in 2010, but is not like maybe the modern definition of West Concord. So anyway, it seemed to be an agreeable expansion for everyone.
Yeah,
I don't
it
know,
made sense.
Elizabeth, do you have any more color that you want to add to that? Drop off. Oh. Elizabeth, do you think we have the expansion of the footprint of West Concord like fairly well, I don't know, articulated in terms of the reasons why we would try to expand the charge for us?
I think if you're just talking about including MCI Concord and Baker Ave and Baker Ave Extension, definitely. Like you said, I think the Novo project and what's happened, with the hotel and Emerson Hospital and eventually that bridge will be built. I think that conversation of what makes up, West Concord and the village is going to be expanded. And it's not just that little section of Main Street and Com Ave.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. And then my last point was, when we're looking through the master plan, you might recall there was we actually did one of those walkabouts a few years ago, and we had tried to generate sort of a list of these asks. And that might be a good reference as we're going through and updating the master plan.
That is a good point. Either of these two documents, this idea board for improving pedestrian and bicycle safety, and also the pedestrian bike ped goals, maybe it's March 22, because the outgrowth of that walkabout a couple years ago, it happened during the pandemic, was like taking pictures of different places that we thought like they're not connecting as well as we would like for pedestrian and biker safety, also for folks who have mobility issues. So if you all want to take a look at these documents, they are, well, the pictures you'll see are from at least a couple years ago, probably 2022. And a lot of this, some of it has changed because of the sidewalk improvements, but yeah, feel free to peruse this as well, because it might make you happy that a lot of stuff has changed, but also remind you that there are things that still haven't been touched, and some of them might be also getting referenced in this master plan. So this is on the, let's see. It is on one of our pages. Yeah, so it's on our West Concord Advisory Committee page, and these two docs right here. Yeah, were committee generated. Wendy, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to just comment and say, I think it's great that you're going to take that master spreadsheet and update it. I think that's fantastic, because I looked at that a while ago and I'm like, did we do it all? And it's sort of like the Envision Concord that, I think the planning board, Elizabeth, to your credit, is pretty good at going back and saying, what have we done and what have we not done? And I think all committees should go back and look at their plans and see if they've done it. And you're taking it on pretty quickly. So appreciate all that. That's really helpful. So that's great. And I'm glad that you commented on these other documents, because I was kind of wondering what they were.
Okay,
so appreciate the background. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, thanks for joining. Do we have any other folks who would like to make public comment or other comment? Okay. So I guess what I should ask is, our next meeting, 7/3, is very close to a certain summer holiday. So I'm wondering if we want to keep that meeting date or should we try and adjust it? I'm open to anything. I'm not really traveling for the 4th, but wanted to throw it out to the committee what you think we should do. Are some folks going to be deep in their vacation plans on the 3rd?
Susan, I think
am.
historically we've skipped the July meeting at least sometimes.
Right,
that
yeah, to
we-
give ourselves, a month off. Well, I guess, if we're interested in skipping July, we should just make sure that we can keep August. Between July and August, would people prefer to skip July, or what do you all think?
Yeah, I'm on vacation that week of July 4th.
Okay,
I mean, I'd be happy to do the following week.
I'd be happy to do the following week too.
okay.
It feels like we're just starting to go.
Yeah, right, we're getting some momentum, I know, and then, yeah, we don't want to interrupt that. So like, well, John, would you be open for attending a meeting the week after the week of July 4th, and then perhaps we can take a hiatus for August to give ourselves a little bit of summer
Well,
rest?
I wasn't saying we have to skip it. I was just saying historically sometimes we do. But yeah, I'm actually on vacation that week, but the week after I could join.
Okay,
That's July
Yeah.
10th.
The week after.
July 10th, okay, good too, right, okay. So we will change our meeting date to July 10th. And if everyone could work on their rows of the master plan, and then we can have a big discussion that day. And hopefully we'll have even more information about MCI at that point, something, because I guess it's supposed to be shutting at the very end of this month. So be exciting. Cool. All right, so I'm going to make a motion that we adjourn the meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Great. I don't think I have to do a roll call.
One of these times, Susan, you're gonna remember as chair, you can say, with no further business, I adjourn the meeting.
I am going to remember it. Okay, with no further business, I adjourn the meeting, and it's done. I adjourn the meeting at 8:50.